Alright, what's up guys? So I got somebody sending me this message. What's your opinion on the theory of plateaus from doing the same exercises / routines all the time? It's a great question. It's one I get very common. So I want you to look at it like this. Number one, you don't plateau because you're doing the same routine and the same exercises all the time. The reason why, see, you're asking this because I do the same thing every day. But if you were to look at, let's say, somebody who is exercising in the gym, you'll find that they're actually doing something very, very similar. A normal person, let's say when I was working out in the gym, I would have a 3-day split. Day 1, I would work on chest and shoulders and triceps. Day 2, I would hit back and buys. And day 3, I would hit legs. And then every day I would work on abs, right? So that's 3 days. And then afterwards, I would go 3 days again. So now I'm 6 days on. And then this last day, the 7th day, I just call it my free day. Do whatever I want or I just take a rest. And then I repeat. These exercises that I do on these first 3 days is the exact same exercises that I do on the next 3 days. So in reality, I'm doing these exercises over and over and over every single week. And the difference with doing this versus what I'm doing right now is I take 3 days to go ahead and do all these exercises. Versus right now, I do all of these exercises all in 1 day, okay? So when I'm doing it all in 1 day, the difference is I can't break down my muscles as much as if I was to go and separate it out. Because I can go ahead and do chest and do shoulders and triceps, really train them really hard, have a day to rest, 2 days to rest, right? Plus the rest of this day here, right? So it's like half a day, for example, 1 day, 2 day, and then second day, right? So let's say I have like about 2.5 days to rest before I go ahead and work on these same exercises again. Now, because I'm doing all of them all on the same day, I don't have any days to rest. Pretty much the nighttime and the moment that I'm done, I start to rest. So all that means is I don't get to tear down the muscles as much. If usually I tear it down to 100%, right? I can't do any more or I'm gonna get injured. Now, I would tear only down to a max of 70%, maybe even less. So this way, I can have a shorter recovery time and then I can hit it again the next day. So if I'm doing that, somebody can go, well, you are not going to get as much results if you do that because you want to tear it down all the way. But if we look at the sheer of what creates results, if you are tearing down your muscle just 70% and then only 70% every single day, somebody can go ahead and argue that, well, 70% is good, better than nothing, but it's not 100%. So it's better just to break it down 100%, right? And then not even train every day. Maybe just train 5 days a week and break it down 100%. Well, if you look at it, let's say if you're just looking at sheer numbers, if you look 100% times 5, that's 500, right? That's 500 number. If you take 70% and times it by 7, that's 490. So very close to this 100%, right? So that's just one way to look at it. But in reality, when you're training it every single day, you're still able to get results because you're allowing that recovery time to happen, okay? And therefore, your muscles are still able to recover, even if you're hitting it every day. And because you're doing the same exercises every day, just like you're doing the same exercise for chest and legs and back and everything else every single week, there's not that much of a difference. The major difference comes with either using weights or using body weight, and that's a whole different story. So in other words, if I was gonna go in the gym and I was gonna go ahead and every day bench press and do deadlifts and do squats and do bicep curls and do tricep curls, and do, weighted abs, for example, right? If I was to go ahead and do all these lifts every single day, which I've done before, would I be able to get results? Yeah, I will still be able to get results. Could I tear my muscles down 100%, work on the volume every single day and just like the way I'll do a 3-day split? No, I wouldn't, because if not, I would get injured or I would overtrain, okay, the next day. So then I would apply the same principle, right? If I was to go ahead, normally for chest, I would do about, let's say, usually, maybe about 5 to 6 sets per exercise, and I'll do about 3 exercises to sometimes 4 exercises. So that would be about 18 sets, give or take, right? Just for chest. And then I move on to something else. So that's how I was doing before when I was in the gym. So now, instead of, let's say, 18 sets, I probably would do maybe 4 sets, right? So let's say I'm bench pressing. That's my chest for today. So I'm doing bench pressing. 1 warm-up set, a second progression up, maybe 135, and then 185, and then maybe 245, and then afterwards, do 2 sets of 245 or 265, another 265, and I'm done with chest. That's how my normal chest routine would go. And then instead of doing something else for chest, I move on. Now I'm gonna do back. Now let's say I'm doing deadlifts. Same thing. I have 1 set to warm up, 3 sets, working sets, and I'm done. And then I move on to something else. So this way it's just enough to stimulate my muscles, but not annihilate it, so I can hit it the next day. Same idea. The same exercises, you can still progress, because in reality, everybody is progressing, doing the same exercises, doing the same routines. The people that are changing it up, doing all this different stuff, are usually the ones that aren't getting the results. Now that excludes once you get into advanced levels, once you're like a professional bodybuilder, once you're really targeting all the specific little things, you can change it up, you can feel it out, and at that point, it doesn't matter as much. They still hit the basics, they still have their go-to exercises, and then to bring up certain parts of the body to go ahead and develop certain parts of the body, they'll change it up constantly. But if you don't have a strong foundation, then there's no point to try and change it up, because your foundation isn't set. There's not enough mass, enough muscle there to go ahead and worry about the detail. You can do all the detailing you want, but on the outside, there's just not a lot of muscle to work with. So you got to go ahead and make sure you train the foundation muscle first. And the foundation muscles are always the same for weightlifting and for doing bodyweight training. Chest, you got your bench press, you got your dumbbell press, and you got your fly. Whether or not you're doing a fly on a cable or fly with a dumbbell, it's all the same. They feel a little bit different, but it's still a fly. And then when it goes to your bodyweight training for chest, you got your push-ups. You got your push-ups, and then you got your dips. Those are the basic ones. And then your variety and your variation comes to where you put your hand placements and how you do them. But they're still the same thing. That's the thing, is when you realize all the exercises are all very similar, and all you have to do to not hit a plateau is to go ahead and progress, to constantly challenge your body. If you're weightlifting, then you're challenging your body by increasing the amount of weight that you're using, doing more repetition as another way, and also doing more volume, more sets. If you're body weight training, you're challenging your body by increasing the progression of exercise that you're doing. So you're going from a regular push-up into now an explosive push-up off the ground. And you're also working on doing more repetition, and you are also working on doing more volume or more sets. So just as long as you keep focusing on that, you'll never hit a plateau. So now, not everybody, let's say if somebody is happy with where they're at, not everybody is constantly pushing to go farther and farther. A lot of people are also just wanting to go ahead and maintain. So let's say if you're doing 100 push-ups a day. In the beginning, 100 push-ups is really, really tough. But then now, you're starting to get used to it, and you're able to knock out 100 push-ups almost in 1 set, and you're done. And if you don't progress from there, then your body will just maintain a certain look, maintain a certain strength, and it won't change much, just as long as you keep doing that 100 push-ups. So now from there, if someone goes, I want to go and progress, well, cool, then start doing 200 push-ups. And then your progression continues. And then after that, at some point, those 200 push-ups become easy. And at the same time now, you have an option to do more. So at some point, somebody may go, you know what? I don't care to go ahead and do 300 push-ups. I'm pretty happy just doing 200 push-ups a day. Happy of the way my body looks and feel. And I'm going to spend my time and energy doing something else in my life. Because there's so many other things in our life that we can progress, and we don't always have to focus all of our energy just on taking care of our body and constantly progressing our body. We can take care of our body, but we don't have to constantly be focusing on progressing our body. There's a lot of other areas that require our attention in our life to go ahead and progress on, you know, from our work to our relationships to our other personal interests, you know, to our friends, or if we have children, we can spend more time with them. We don't have to constantly only focus on one thing. So at some point, we may just end up doing that. We find something what we like to do, we find a amount of volume, sets, repetition for exercises, and then we just stick to it. And so therefore, we don't even care about progressing. Maintaining is good enough. So thanks for asking me that question. This one came from Bar Is Life Instagram. So thanks a lot, guys, and hope that one helped.